And on this wonderful day, we want to celebrate the ancestor, Mr. Michael Jackson. And what else is new? Yes, by the way, today we're going to talk about being all churched out. People having different discussions and issues with the house of God, the place of worship. And last week we spoke about a few things last week. And I can't really remember at this very moment what that was. But you should have been paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Should have been paying attention. However, we will have Mrs. Brownie on the show today. Let me turn this down a little bit. There's some of the theme music. Thanks to Zoe Tarantino for making that happen. Oh yes, I need to put these earpieces on. And how many of y'all had any challenges today? I mean, any difficulties in your life? Where things seem to be a little gray and shady. There ain't nothing but the enemy trying to hate on you to make sure you don't do what you were called to do. And the devil's alive. What else can I say? And I'd like to say some good news, by the way. I resent my newsletter, so my apologies to all my fans out there, supporters, my loved ones, family, friends, all that good stuff that been supportive of me from day one. And I sent out the newsletter. It's titled "The Giant Killer," um, which is about Willie Gary and his support of my documentary. Those of you who don't know who Willie Gary is, or Dr. Osgood, um, mm, Ed Brinson, and a couple other individuals. Pastor Ed Brinson, rather. That's my pastor, Ed Brinson. Um, these individuals are in my documentary. So if you don't have my newsletter, go ahead, check it out. It's on fire. And you guys already know I bring that fire when I'm doing something. I bring out my passion, my drive, and all that good stuff. So definitely, please check it out when you get an opportunity to. It would definitely be a blessing to you, and very inspirational, true story. And it took me only 8 years to see a dream manifest. And I know many people give up on their dreams, but that's not the will of God for us to give up on our dreams. I mean, that's the last thing He wants us to do. The Lord God wants us to embrace our goals and dreams, hang on to them, and never give up. Keep moving forward. And that's what King Kevin is about. Man, that's what the whole Courage to Believe movement is about. That's the name of my documentary, The Courage to Believe. And by now, everyone should definitely know that. And, I'm just very appreciative of all the support and love that we've received over the past, since my inception of birth, So, um, everyone and anyone who ever been a blessing to me, I truly do thank you. So, today we're going to have, as I mentioned, Miss Brownie on the show. She's going to be calling in shortly. She's a journalist from the big city, the Big Apple. So hopefully she's able to check in, which she will. We're going to talk about a few things. This is not a opportunity to bash any churches or religions or beliefs. I really don't know what she's going to say, which makes it very interesting because that's why it's a live show. Because you're not going to know everything. It's going to be live, impromptu, and all that good stuff. So I'm just making sure I send out this text to everybody who wanted me to let them know, to remind them about the King Kevin show. It's gonna get crump, y'all. We're gonna talk about whether or not you believe churches too commercialized these days. We're gonna talk about whether or not there are really miracles going on in many of these churches. I've seen miracles myself at my church, Redeeming Word. I've seen curses manifest as well, not in church, but in life itself. So there's definitely a difference between miracles and curses, and I hope you guys choose the blessings and not the curses. That's what the devil wants. So tonight show all churched out, King Kevin show. We live. It's happening. It's real. So you can call in at 305-600-5916. That's 305 600 5916. I paid the bill, so I know the phone phone works. But I tell you what, though, a quick testimony, man. I was really going through some things, and I made a video about it entitled "You Find the Will, You Find the Way to Continue." You find that motivation, and it is very real out here. People give up all the time, and people jumping off buildings, taking out themselves, their loved ones. I mean, and on their dreams as well. So people always, it's not rare, what I mean, for people throwing a towel, and that's not what we want in life. You know what I'm saying? That's not what the will of God is about. Throwing in the towel. We are supposed to live our dreams to the fullest. You understand? That's what we place on earth to do, to make a contribution to society. Enough of that before I start, in my preacher mode. I'm always kicking knowledge, and kicking knowledge is something that I love to do. It's been something that I'm passionate about, and I love being around positive people that operate on a high conscious level in life, and there's no apologies for it. Now, yes, and another thing I wanted to mention, how about Reading Rainbow? They trying to get rid of Reading. Well, they got rid of Reading Rainbow, but they're finally bringing it back. So it was a shocking to me that they even canceled Reading Rainbow. Can you believe that? Reading Rainbow? Everybody watches Reading Rainbow. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on that. My brothers and sisters, we grew up on Reading Rainbow. That's why I love to read now. Right now, on my desk right now, there's one, two, three, 4 books, 5 books on my desk right now. One of them is a Bible. Another one is called The History of Black Baptists, which is, we're going to talk about some of the contents of this book. And we're going to talk about In the Spirit. Black History Celebrity of the Day is Mrs. Suzanne Taylor. She's the owner, CEO, not owner, but the CEO of Essence Magazine. And it was a blessing reading this book. I'm not done completely, but I have read more than half of it. It's not a big book. It was published back in '93, we're going to talk about that in a little moment. I definitely have a few people, calling in right now. So let me go ahead and send them the text. So, all right, now where do we begin? I should have charged my laptop. So, anyway, without further ado, let's make this happen. All right, we got the Mrs. 1 second, I calling in. I want to answer from here. She's gonna call back in a little minute. Let me make sure that everything's everything. And why I cannot see. Let's see here. What's going on? What's going on? She just called me. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. King Kevin is still here. And don't trip about me calling myself King Kevin. You know what I'm saying? I'm a king. You're a queen. There's kings all over the world. So that's what's going on. So let me make sure that my Skype is operating perfectly. Hey, how you doing? You're gonna need to call my call the Skype back. Just having a little complications with it for some reason. So if you can hear me, just call the number back. I need to go to call back in 5 minutes. Call back 5 minutes. Yeah, let me. Why I can't find the Skype here? It's usually on my cell phone. And I didn't even put this on Instagram yet. And if you guys not following on Instagram, it's at courage2believe. All right. I know I didn't delete Skype from my phone. Did I? Oh wow. I guess I didn't put Skype on here. Well, that's a shame. And I just got my phone back, as a matter of fact. But we about to get in the nitty gritty of things. Come on, baby. Where you at, baby? Call back in 5 minutes. She keeps calling the phone. I'm trying to tell her to call back. Play, play, play. Come on, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Where you at? Skype, Skype, Skype. Where are you? And where's play when you need it? Okay, there you go. I know I got Skype on the phone. Yeah, I'm about to get this thing going right now. Oh wow, how did it delete from my phone? Give it a little minute. All right. Let's see. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Play some little music for you. Make sure this laptop don't pass out. Make sure this thing, laptop all good, everything active. And I'm not gonna tell y'all. You know how much the devil's a liar? Try to try to stop the show. Can you believe that? How you gonna stop the King Kevin show? How you gonna do that? Huh? Let me see here. Courage to believe. Let's see here. Bear with me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I think we're on the popping. Let's see. Skype live again. Let's Skype out. And it's so funny because now I need to get this lady on the phone. All right, my bad. 55. All right, we on. Okay, boom. You can't stop. You can't block a good man. You can never stop a good man doing this thing. You understand? So don't ever give up on anything you're doing, anything you're trying to do. Call back in 5. Where is the never giving up? All right, boom, we on. So I want to touch base on something right quick before we get this thing rocking. All right, now I don't know if any of you guys seen that video about the pastor who said these hoes ain't loyal. You know, I seen it on Instagram and I thought people were just joking, but actually they weren't joking. Like, you know, Pastor Brian, out there from Chicago, he actually did say that, you know, that these girls ain't loyal, and it, you know, it caught a lot of people by surprise. But you know, people took it out of context actually, because what he was talking about was just our women are under attack. You know, at first men were under attack. You know, young men getting incarcerated in prison and all that craziness, and now it's our young men that has been put aside, and now it's actually the women being, you know, under attack. Women are the number one growing population in the prison system, and how that relates to the show today is that churches seem to be feminized now. It's overpopulated with women. I mean, as a man, it's a good thing because, you know, man, you love to see, you know, women, you know, especially good-looking women, of course. But that's not what you go to church for. You know what I'm saying? It's not to look at women, but at the same time, it just seems to be overpopulated with women and not enough men. So that's what Pastor Brian was talking about when he had said that. So just finish up this little text. Leave comment, please. All right, let's do it. And so now, what are the problems we have with church? That's one of the problems I have with church. There's not enough men there. You know what I'm saying? There's not enough leaders there. You know, you need because the men leads the household. Is it the church's fault that that's going on? I definitely want to say it's the church's fault, but it is a problem that needs to be addressed because if the men aren't there, then where are they? Then you got an issue with the tithes and offering. You have some pastors who aren't really doing what they should be doing with the tithes and offering, which is very unfortunate because you have pastors who are taking the money for their own private goods and, you know, trips, you know what I mean, for their cars and houses. I mean, there's a pastor who I forgot where he's from. He's a con artist. He's from anywhere. This guy was able to get like dozens upon dozens of leaders, spiritual leaders, to donate or invest $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into his project, and nothing, came about from it. So this was definitely, unfortunate. Excuse me for 1 second. Yeah, so that's that's what happened, and so the pastor eventually ended up, going to prison. But after taking, like, God knows how many millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? That's something that we definitely need to discuss and, think about. Like, how do you protect yourself from a fake pastor, so to speak? 1 second. All right, here she goes. Hey, Miss Brown, how you doing?
Oh, King Kevin, how are you?
All is well, all is well. Thank you for your patience. It's just been one technical issue after another, but you can't keep a good man down,
I know that's right.
Yes, yes, yes. So definitely speak up a little bit. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Brownie from NYC doing her thing. She's a journalist and the CEO of DoloHustle.com. Is that correct?
Woo-woo. Stella Hustle Entertainment LLC, that's right.
All right. So go ahead and drop your 2 cents on the matter regarding the issues of the church and people being all churched out.
Yeah, I like what you were saying about how there's a lot of women in the church. It's been that way for a long time, where you would see a lot more women in the church than you would men. Unfortunately, it can be something that turns men off, especially younger men, not having really other men to relate to or talk to other than maybe some really old deacons or something. So it's something that churches do need to work on. There's been some news recently about ways different churches have been reaching out to get young men. Some ideas better than others. There was a church that was in the news this week because they were actually giving guns away. I don't know if you saw that in the news,
Giving guns
King
away.
Kevin, but they were giving out AR-15, trying to lure men to the church. There's some other churches. They're playing some of the white churches. They're playing rock music, and the pastor is wearing jeans. He has a mohawk just to attract that younger crowd and a male crowd to feel like they can relate to their pastor. Black churches kind of remains to be seen the way that they're going to reach out specifically to young men because it's still, as you said, a disparity between the genders in the church.
Hmm. But the gun thing, though, oh no, I didn't hear about that. Where did that take place?
Yeah,
What state?
craziness. I
What?
actually wrote an article about that. I don't remember what state it was in, but and it's not the only state to do it. The state of New York did the same thing. Um, Kentucky Baptist Convention, they did the same thing. This is just the latest church to actually do it, where they have a raffle. They did it for Father's Day, where if you brought your child to church, you got a raffle ticket for each child. If you brought your dad to church, you got another raffle ticket. And they gave out AR-15, which is wild. A lot of controversy over that. That was their way of trying to get young men into the church doors.
Oh man, no, I'm surprised that. Wow, I'd have researched that one. AR-15s. They probably was fake AR-15s. They weren't real. Were they?
Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, were they real guns or were they what,
Yeah,
water guns?
yeah, yeah.
AR-15s. Now imagine this quick.
Semi-automatic weapons, AR-15s. As I said, they weren't the only church to do it, just the latest church. I actually just pulled it up online. It's Ignite Church in Missouri was the church that was just recently in the news for doing it. But they're not the first. They probably won't be the last. If their population is really into guns, they felt like that's how they were going to get people in. Not something I would recommend at all. But that's the way
Right.
they chose to reach young men.
I mean, to be honest with you, me personally, I wouldn't mind having a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, I anticipate getting a gun so I can protect myself and my family. You know, not just so I can brag and boast, oh, I got a gun, but you know, I'm very uh, defensive-minded individual. You know, I believe in protecting myself. You know, I don't like being at the mercy of other people, but the AR-15 thing, I don't know. Maybe if I would have known that, I would have went to that church, caught a flight. But do you know how
Yeah,
expensive those
I mean,
guns are?
I have nothing against guns. I used to own a gun myself.
Right.
I probably will own a gun again in the future. As you said, just for your own protection, especially me as a single female. But I think giving away semi-automatic weapons is a mistake. I mean, you want to give away handguns or even rifles. People like shooting, hunting,
Right.
things like that. That's fine. But I don't think semi-automatic weapons, such as about the school violence that we're having, I don't think it's just a good message for a church to send out.
Hey, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And did you ever hear about the one? Well, first of all, let me say this again. Those who are listening, this is not a show to bash churches, religion, anyone's beliefs. You know, this is just something to bring some issues that are going on in the forefront of churches. So that's why we're having this discussion. Now, I mentioned earlier about tithes and offerings. You know, that's something that a lot of people have a problem with. I believe in tithes and offerings because I believe in sowing seeds. You know, not just in the church, which is a misconception that a lot of church members have. They just believe in supporting the church. You know, but what about your community? You know, what I mean, you got to support your community as well. That's a way of sowing seeds. Is supporting your community, supporting people that you believe in or believe in what they are doing will be the benefit of other people. Um, but there are some churches out there that are taking, not churches, but some crooked pastors that are taking the money, going out, lavish trips with the church's money, buying cars and houses and things like that. There was this one pastor, a black guy, unfortunately. He was a pastor. Was a pastor at one point, and what he did was he was able to get all these different churches to uh, sow in thousands of dollars, $5,000, $10,000. You know, so you sow in $2,000, he promised you get 10,000 back or some crazy number like that. And he got a few million. If I'm not mistaken, it was probably about 20, upwards of 10 to 20 million dollars. Did you ever hear about that?
No, this is something that happened recently.
It happened, I believe, in 2009, 2008. There's a show called American Greed. You know, I researched and everything, and this is actually, went down. And one of the things well, two things bother me with that issue. You know, being a man or woman of God, the God is going to speak to you. The Spirit is going to speak to you, and at that point, you need to act upon that. With all these different pastors, somebody should have known or should have heard from God that this guy was a fraud. Now, you talking about some churches even shut down. You know what I'm saying? Lost members. Like, some churches lost all their members. Some marriages, because the pastors, were married. Some of them got divorced because of this, because of the financial burden that was placed upon the relationship. Went to bankruptcy. You know what I mean? It just tumbled down. So that really hurt my heart that all these different churches had to go through that. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, that is terrible because it affects so many people beyond just that pastor or those leaders. It affects the whole church and the community, and it gives tithing a bad name. The few examples of maybe some crooked pastors who are spending the church's money, and the church population doesn't have a lot of money, but here the pastor is with these extravagant things. It gives tithing a bad name. Um, Tithing is very important. I personally believe in it, that it's a way that I've reaped blessings. I know it has been from tithing. It's a biblical principle I think that we should follow.
True.
And I think it just gives it a bad name when you think, well, I only have X amount of dollars. Why should I give this man, this person, 10% of my money, but they're not thinking beyond that, and that it's given back to the Lord what He has given to you.
Well put. Definitely. And that's exactly why I do it. Because we it's not that you have to give. You get the opportunity to give because with closed hands, it's hard to receive anything if you got closed hands. You're not releasing anything out in the atmosphere. And if you want to look at this metaphysically, there isn't any way whatsoever that you can receive a harvest if you haven't put anything into the universe because you get what you put out there. And so when you have situations like this, it makes it very hard for people or non-believers to ever become believers because now the stigma that this guy left, I mean, this affected churches all over the nation. Matter of fact, all over the world. I mean, it was small churches, big churches, and it really hurt my heart. When I get the link, when I find that link, because I watched it on American Greed. Did you ever watch that show?
I love American Greed. Yeah, and I'm surprised I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, well, they showed it twice. They showed it once. I caught it the first time 2 years ago, and then I happened to catch it again by default sometime this year, and it just amazed me. And one of the things that should have been a telltale sign this guy was a crook. He kept saying the word cheese. Do you have the cheese? And I'm like, of course, this is a big rat. He talking about some cheese, of course. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's saying cheese, like, and then he has this one gold in his mouth. That makes him even look even cheesier. And yeah, I mean, what he was doing was he was building some sort of resort. I forgot what they called a resort. It was some sort of resort where churches could come and host workshops and conferences and things like that. And so he did put the money down to start it so people could come and see as if he was building something. But in actuality, that first visit that they had saw, that's all it was. Just a foundation put down and some logs put up and a little roof, but other than that it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's acres of nothing. So but just anybody out there and you bump into anybody promising you this miracle, okay, because can nobody promise you a miracle first of all. You know what I'm saying? So, man, y'all look out for them telltale signs, man. Because there's a lot of crooks out there, especially these days. People can't afford to lose anything, for the most part, anyway. And other than that, how about being commercialized? There's a lot of controversy over the churches being too commercialized, and too much entertainment. And what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. When it comes to the entertainment aspect, I think that there are some churches that concentrate more on, let's say, the music ministry than the actual ministering and actually feeding people and teaching people. Um, it's they may spend more time in choir rehearsal and um, all these entertainment type of things, praise dance, whatever it is,
Right.
and less time on a women's ministry or this young men's ministry that we've been talking about that's lacking in some churches, or Bible study or things like that. Um, so it's unfortunate because the entertainment aspect does attract younger people. It may make the service go by maybe a little more livelier. Some things that people used to complain about back in the day. Church took so long and it was boring.
Mm-hmm.
And the young people, so they got grown, would leave the church. So they did it as a way, I think, of keeping people around, keeping people interested and awake in service and coming back. Keep the visitors engaged also.
That's true.
But you can go too far with it, where you're not ministering and you're just entertaining, which is not what we're going to church for.
Yeah, because you develop a culture where people are coming, to the house of God, the house of worship, to get goosebumps, to just feel good. I do understand you need to have as many encounters with God as possible. And I believe the church is one of the best places. As a matter of fact, the reason why I go to church, well, I started going to church on a regular basis, was because it's a positive place, and I knew that I needed a positive place and to be around positive people. Church, libraries, schools, parks, things like that. The libraries, they're positive, so that allows me to relax a little bit, in peace. And so when you have these, mega churches, so to speak, you have, Joel Osteen, who I follow. Matter of fact, I have his book in my office right now. It's Your Time Now. You have T.D. Jakes. It has a mega church as well. You have Prince. He has a mega church. I mean, there's tons of mega churches, all across the world actually. And like you said, they need to keep everyone engaged, and so they don't lose the members. So I guess there's a thin line between entertainment to keep them engaged, and I don't know, would I say thin line? But there's definitely a line between uh, you know learning about God, developing your spirit, and that whole entertainment aspect, because you want to like the person that's giving you the word, but unfortunately, because of all this charisma that a lot of these male and female pastors have, they become idols, and that's why I have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Just recently, I think maybe a month or two ago, there's a Pastor Bob here in Fort Lauderdale. He has like the biggest church, like in, I believe, in Florida. Somebody won the lotto. They donated like millions of dollars to build a church. I mean, this church even has like a football team. So just to let you know, kind of, the size of the church. It has a school football team. I mean, it's a mega church. It's on TV. Well, it used to be, but the pastor, Pastor Bob, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, but he was caught up in some infidelity. I talked about this in one of my previous shows earlier this year. And so once he, got caught up cheating on his wife, I'm assuming it was with a woman. He lost his position, and a lot of the people who followed him, they stopped going to church. And now they're like, when you when you strike the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. This was a perfect example. And I mean, I have friends who go to this church who tell me they don't go there anymore. Matter of fact, one of my neighbors across the hallway from me, she's a teacher. She goes to that church, but she still does. But I have a couple of friends who just completely stopped going. I mean, so but the thing is, they stopped going because he was their idol and he let them down, and that should have never been the case.
Yeah, I actually did a series of articles about that, Pastor Bob Coy.
Oh, so you know about him?
That was.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead. So you know about him? That's what's up.
Yeah. I one of the websites that I write for is ChristianToday.com. So we do a lot of reporting on Christian news, obviously, and mega churches, and that was a really big story in the Christian community. So I did several articles about him. And as you say, the church members, a lot of them were devastated, absolutely devastated when the adultery charges came out and when he resigned. And I also found when I was researching for my articles that people were also even more devastated when all of his writings and his sermons were taken off the church website.
Mm.
Even though he was removed from the pastoralship, some of the congregation was really hurt that the church just like erased him, basically. And I know that some people said on Facebook that they were leaving because of that, and they didn't like the reaction that the church had. But in those type of situations, as you said, you don't put your faith in man, you put your faith on God. So you shouldn't look too hard and too heralding of these pastors when they're just men and they make mistakes. And Pastor Bob, he had talked about his past and mistakes that he had made, type of lifestyle he had. So he's still a man, and I hope that his family is getting through it. We haven't heard anything from them in months. They're under the radar now, as they should be. Hopefully healing and working things out. So, just praying for their family and that the church is healing also from that.
Amen to that. And yeah, you're right about that. But my heart goes out to the family. That spiritual family. Well, we all the spiritual family, but that church family there. Yeah, and even the shows he had. I know he had a weekly show on the radio. That was taken down. So there was a huge repercussions from what happened. And wow, I guess you got to be very careful when you're in that position, because to whom much is given, much is required. And and this is one of the biggest problems I have with the church today. Many churches, and I want your opinion on this because maybe you don't agree with me, so maybe we may have an argument here. Many churches have a painting of Jesus, and the painting of Jesus is a white, blue-eyed, blonde hair male, and in actuality, Jesus was not white. One of the reasons why that most recent movie they had about Jesus came out. I forgot the name of it. I didn't go see that because I know that's a lie. The movie is based on a lie. He's not white due to the region, being that he was a original Hebrew. He could not have been a white a European. He couldn't have had blue eyes. And it's not that to me that it's the color that I worship. Of course, it isn't. It's the spirit. But when you have historical facts in your face, but you put up the painting up there, and that's not the truth, then why continue? You know what I'm saying? Why even have? And one of the reasons why I love my church, and a lot of people may not even realize it, there is no picture of Jesus of a Jesus on the wall. And I never asked my pastor this, even though I did interview him for my documentary, and I had plenty of opportunity to ask him that. I wish I would have. I want to ask him why don't you have a painting of Jesus up here? I was gonna ask him about the whole color thing, um, and that's that's in and this happens mainly in black churches. White churches as well, but in black churches you're gonna have a painting of a white Jesus there. And if you put a painting of a black Jesus on the wall, it's a shame, but most of the members probably stopped coming to church because all these years, from generation to generation, we've been conditioned to believe that Jesus was white. And believe it or not, and the reason why I'm reading this book, well, I haven't really started reading it, but there's this book in front of me called The History of the Black Baptists. And I hope you guys can see it on the screen here. And this book, and it deals with the historical facts about the origins of the church, and it talks about how we were given the Christianity as a religion from our slave masters. This was given to us. Africans, people of African descent, we came from Africa with our own religions and own beliefs, our own spiritual system. I mean, we really did. Believe it or not, we did, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to know what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's the same with people drinking the Kool-Aid, as they say, not learning their history, especially us as black people. Um, Too often we're not taught our history, in schools or from your parents, and you really just have to seek it out and learn it on your own. So if you don't do that, then sometimes you remain ignorant. As far as the white Jesus, I see that far too often as well. Not only in church but in people's homes. They'll have little figurines of Jesus, like the nativity scene, and a white Mary and a white Joseph and a white Jesus. And I'm like, why? And this is a black person's house. And I'm like, why do you have this white Jesus family in your house? But that's what they, as you said, that's what they think. That's what they grew up saying. That's what they believe. I don't know if they would go as far as to leave the church if they had a just like Jesus on the wall. But I think there would definitely be a reaction, and some people might take issue with it or disagree that Jesus was black. It's always interesting when you are in a black church and they have the white Jesus. There's a stained glass windows with the white Jesus. It's a little disconcerting, to say the least, when you have a black congregation, especially.
Wow, wow. And I love how you put that. And I wish I would have known growing up that having a white Jesus, that painting, it has some kind of psychological effect. You know what I'm saying, on people. And every culture has a Jesus or a religious figure that's based on their culture, except African Americans. And there's a pastor, who passed away some years ago, back in 2005. I think 2005. His name is Dr. Borshango, and he has this video called "Will the Real Jesus Stand Up?" So you guys, if you're on YouTube, go on YouTube, Dr. Borshango, just Google "Will the Real Jesus Stand Up?" And he talks about this in detail. And it wasn't the first time I ever heard of this, but he's the one that actually made me, look at the scriptures, and and look what it's saying, like in Revelations. I wish I had a scripture in front of me right now, but I don't. But he talks about that, and he got through out of church for saying that. And he was laughing, but yeah, he got kicked out of the church for saying that Jesus, was black, and it just shows that conditioning that has been going down for generations, after generations. And if the color of Jesus did not matter, then why not put the painting, or the color of his true origins? You know what I'm saying? If it didn't matter, so, and a lot of people say, it don't matter. Then why not? Why not put the truth up there? And I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with what I'm saying, but look, man, I'm not racist. I love everybody. I love my culture. I'm definitely gonna support my culture. I go out of my way to support my culture, my black culture. You know what I'm saying? And I think everyone, should do that. We need to support ourselves. That we definitely need to do that. But I'm gonna take a little break because I want to change gears a little bit and talk about Mrs. Suzanne L. Taylor, who's my Black History celebrity. Black History Month. Black History Month is every month on the King Kevin Show. Did you know that, Brownie?
I didn't know. Now I know.
You
That's
didn't?
nice. Every month.
Every month is Black. Go ahead, say it again.
That's great that you're celebrating every month. That's great.
It has to, because no one, it's barely anyone else is doing it. As a matter of fact, I have an idea that I think is gonna make me a few $1 million. So I'll tell you about that some other time. I possibly could use your help. So right now I'm reading this book called "In the Spirit" by Suzanne L. Taylor, and she's a woman that actually CEO of Essence Magazine. And as a matter of fact, July 3rd through the 6th, they're having the Essence conference, whatever they call it, in Louisiana, which is a very big event. I want to make it this year. I don't think I'm going to make it this year. My goal was to make it this year, but I won't be able to go. And she actually started working for Essence Magazine as the fashion editor. She didn't have a college degree. She had a child, a single parent, but yet she was able to become the fashion editor. She's written several books, and one of the things I give her much props for, and I could definitely quote a couple of things she said in this book, because I'm gonna quote her in my new book, Seven Types of Queens That Kings Desire. She talks about love and being able to send. You ever heard that song Brownie by what's the ladies, Zayn, "Sending My Love"? You ever heard that song before, back in the day?
The Keisha Cole song?
No, no, no. Zayn, group Zayn from like the '90s. They had a song called "Sending My Love to You."
No,
Well,
I don't remember.
trust me, it was very popular. I should be playing that song now, but the reason why I'm bringing up the songs
Go
because
ahead and sing it, Kevin. Go ahead and sing it.
I can't do that right now, But you catch me on a good day, and I definitely do it for you. But the reason why I brought that up is because the song is about sending your love to someone that you love, like purposely, consciously thinking about sending the love to someone. She talks about in this book, In the Spirit, sending your blessings to people. So I found that very interesting because what she mentioned was that instead of reacting to someone's negativity, in a negative fashion or in a cold, manner, return it with love instead. So to me, that was like that was powerful because it's so easy to react to to get on someone's level. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about this in my book because when for instance a man and a woman, when a man is at when he's operating at a lower level of consciousness and he's with a woman that has a high level of consciousness, she's very much in tune with her spirit. She understands her environment. She understands her divine powers as a female. She has to decrease herself. She has to lower herself, lower her consciousness, in order to communicate with him. You follow what I'm saying? Am I losing you?
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
All right. So if a woman gets with a man that is operating on an animalistic level, on a basic level, she's actually losing power because she can't communicate with him on a level she's on. She has to literally decrease. So I'm like, wow. So it's the same thing with love and blessings. When someone is acting hostile towards you, it's so easy to let your ego want to speak louder, be harsher to that individual. But she's saying, no, don't do that, because then you're giving them too much room in your head, too much room in your spirit. Therefore, you have now diminished yourself, so to speak. But of course, you can always come back to your regular right state of mind and spirit. But why even go through all of that? But anyway, I just want to mention that because that was pretty deep, and it won't even do me any justice if I don't mention something that she wrote in here. So give me 2 seconds. And by the way, she also is the founder of Dream Academy. Dream Academy is something that Disney World does every year. It's a huge event. If you're a motivational speaker, if you're an actor, actress, this is something that you hope to get contracted to do, because these people probably get paid $10,000-$20,000 to speak to all these teenagers. And what the Dream Academy is, they host these different workshops. They motivate all the people there, all the teenagers there, to believe in their dreams again. So I hope that I can also get on that A list. You talking about people like Steve Harvey. You talking about and maybe they're black speakers. You know what I'm saying? And Susan Taylor, she makes no excuse for it. She supports black people. Essence Magazine. You feel me? So like I mentioned, Steve Harvey. You got Tyrese coming there. Regina King doing her thing over there. Um, the names go on and on. I mean, it's tons of people. Mr. Sparkles. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. The hip hop preacher. I mean, this is a huge event, and she organizes this every year. So, Mrs. Suzanne Taylor, if you listen to this show, I'm giving you much love and props. And man, please reach out to me if anybody know Miss Suzanne Taylor or has a way of getting in contact with her. Tell her, holler at her brother, man. I love to link up with her. But let me go ahead and say this right quick from her book, In the Spirit. The bookmark jumped out, but it's not a big book, so it won't be hard for me to find. And here it is. Exactly what I was going to say. Sending your blessings a few times a day to a person you are in conflict with is helpful in reducing misunderstanding and hostility. It doesn't change the other person, it changes you. It softens your heart. It helps how you treat and respond to that person. When you resent or resist someone, that negativity is felt by them just as your openness is with your heart. No matter how horrible someone's attitude may be, negativity is diminished in the light of love. And so I thought that was pretty deep, and I that's why I wanted to quote her. So let's get back to the topic. Unless you want to say something regarding that.
Well, shout out to Susan Taylor. She's been at Essence for a long time, and I'm glad to see that she's doing so many great things to give back, be more like her. Essence is great for that. Essence, there are a lot of their executives are about empowerment and lifting up people in general, but also Black people. So that's great.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. You know, she's been in the game for years, man. She's one in a million. If you have opportunity, I wouldn't. I mean, anybody. You know, other than getting my book, of course. But book was published in '93. Um, but don't get it twisted. Wisdom never gets old. You understand? So I know we live in a society where everyone is upgrading constantly or trying to find the freshest or newest content. But this wisdom here, even though it's what 93, that makes it what what's that, 20 years, 20 years
Yes.
old, it's 21 years. You know, it's still a lot of good information in there, you know, for your life, your relationships. I mean, I was surprised. I bought this book for 50 cents, believe it or not, and it's autographed, by the way, too. I didn't know it until I actually started reading. It's autographed by her. But I would have paid $20 for this book. I just I love knowledge. I love wisdom, and there's a lot of wisdom in this book, especially if you're a single mother. So she gives a lot of advice to single mothers and women. And another thing about her is she mentions a lot of history in the book. And she speaks about Mary McLeod Bethune, Mary C.J. Walker, not Mary C.J. Walker, Madam C.J. Walker, Toussaint Louverture, Danny Glover, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, like she goes in, you know. But anyway, enough of that. And let me ask you a question though. Give us a testimony of what God has done for you recently. You know, something that you think would motivate people or inspire them.
Well, something that I've been dealing with right now is kind of getting on my feet in New York. I was freelancing for a long time, but finally got full time employment and still trying to get my own place and just really I was feeling really discouraged about that. Things weren't moving as fast as I wanted or as well as I thought that things should be going. I'm a Leo, and I like to get things done and just knock it out, and I have trouble with my patience. So I've been praying about that, and some
Okay.
things that touched me this week. I don't know if you saw the announcement of that college basketball player who found out that he has a genetic disorder and he can no longer play basketball. And he was going to be in the draft. So it was during his pre-draft medical testing that they discovered he has a genetic problem and he can't play basketball anymore at any level. So I was reading his story and he was so just grateful and praising God and just saying that there's a plan for his life and that God is great and you never know what's around the corner, what's next for you, and that he was so grateful to have the time he did have with a great college career. And he was just so happy and proud and thankful for the support he was getting and nothing negative and not any woe is me
Mm-hmm.
or any type of despair. And that was really encouraging for me. And I had to apologize. And I said, I'm sorry, Lord, work on me. Because I've gone through much smaller situations than that. And been like, oh my goodness, just, all is lost kind of thing. And
Wow.
here this guy is finding out this devastating news. He's still praising God and thankful. So that was something that God has worked on my heart this week. So that's my testimony that I'm working on that, and I thank God for that.
Amen. And oh, that's deep too. I actually heard about that story right there. And bless them. And people always, we always seem to get caught up sometimes in complaining about our lives or little situations, but it can always be worse. So thank God that
Oh
it's
yeah.
not worse. But hold up, there's a caller calling in. Let me take this call. Let me. Yes, yes. Number 8282. This is King Kevin Show.
Yes. Hey,
Yes.
what's up?
Hey, how you doing? You had a question or comment for me or Miss Brownie?
Well, I had something to say about the church topic. The only thing I think the church should do, I don't want to say differently, but they should actually go into the community more. You know, reach out to the community that the church is in. Maybe start breakfast in the morning before the kids go to school. The kids who can't get free lunch, or just have little events for the neighborhood. I think not only will that um, make pastors be more real, but it'll help. It's basically one hand washes the other. So if you're looking for more of a bigger congregation, then you want to give, so that which is sowing a seed, so that your seed will flourish, and there will be more a bigger congregation because it helps.
Oh wow, that's real though, and I appreciate it. And you're right. I think churches. I mean, they are churches doing their thing in the community. I know my church, Redeeming Word. We have a food drive. We right now are doing some coaching to help people with their resumes, which is a good thing, and a career career fair, which is pretty cool. But then again, I
I didn't
think
necessarily hear you, but I mean, like, get dirty, like, feed the homeless, like, I mean, like, really go out there and touch people. I'm not talking about, basic food drives and stuff. That stuff is, common.
right,
Um,
right,
School drive, Christmas drive, Thanksgiving, I'm talking about, like, on a daily basis.
daily basis. Okay, I feel you on a regular basis. Well, I mean, are you willing to donate to help a church do that?
Well, that's where, the tithes and all that come in. They have a special program for this, and if people, I
Speak a
feel like
little
it's more
louder.
than enough, basically, because there's people in the church, if they want to give out clothes and food and do all that for the community, they can, because if they have a congregation, they can, people in the congregation can get all this stuff together and, help the needy or the less fortunate out.
All right. So are you tithing or giving offering to the church right now?
Huh?
Are you giving tithes or offering to a church right now to help them feed the needy and you know assist
Yes,
in
I
this
do.
community effort? Okay. All right. I was just asking. You're not an attack. So make sure you get your friends to help as well because it does cost a lot of money. Ministry costs money. So and you're right. It needs to be more effort, but I think the only way that's going to happen is if churches unite. Because you go in a lot of urban areas. There's a church in every corner. So if these churches were to get together and form an army, then I think they could go ahead and take over the city and help in those areas and not just feed the homeless, but teach them how to feed themselves. You know what I'm saying? Get them back into the job market. Create job opportunity. Get them cleaned up. Shaved, washed up. Brushed up too. 'Cause I know the breath could be a little funky after 3 days not brushing. So I mean, they need to really get a makeover. So spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, all that. But I appreciate you calling in, and you be blessed.
Thank you.
All right, bye bye. Yes, yes. Ms. Mary, you still there?
I'm here.
Now is your name Mary or is it Brownie? Which one you rather people call you? What's the
Well, definitely not Mary or Marie is actually my middle name.
Marie?
I go by Brownie as a nickname. But some people call me Miss Marie if they don't feel like calling me Brownie, I guess.
I kind of like Brownie. I can't say why on the air, but I tell you I tell you in person. But
I like it too. I've been using Brownie for about 8 years now, so most people know me as Brownie and nothing else.
where you get that name from?
My friend gave it to me as a nickname when I first started working in the entertainment industry. I was modeling. back in 2006, and he took photos for me. My first, they weren't professional, but it was all I had at the time. And he said, "You look like a chocolate brownie." And all of this photo file, he said like brownie one, brownie two, brownie three. And that's a good name to use. Plus, I was working for Cleveland Public Schools at the time, and
Okay.
I couldn't use my real name. You know, like you're working in entertainment life, and you got your work life. So now I'm able to have my work life be my entertainment life and be actually working in the career that I want to do, so I can use Brownie full time now.
Awesome, awesome. I love the name Brownie. So I just call you, I just call you Brownie, and take it from there. But yeah, the fact that you just said, you're doing what you love to do, you're getting paid for it, it's your career. I mean, that's a blessed life right there. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how much you get paid, like that's a blessing. Being able to get paid for what you love to do, and doing this show, I love doing it. Writing, I love doing it. You know what I'm saying? Speaking to people, encouraging people, that's what I love to do. But I pay my bills doing internet marketing, so that's not what I love to do. I just happen to be good at it, and it pays my bills. But one day I want to just completely throw myself into my career as an inspirational speaker, author, and I'm starting to get a little bit familiar with the film industry as well. So
Oh, great.
did you see the trailer to my documentary yet?
I have not seen the trailer.
Okay, so do you get my newsletters? Cause I might have to add you to it.
I get them here and there. I got an email today saying about a corrected newsletter, but I don't remember getting the other one. But I also need to clean out my inbox. It may be me and not you.
Okay, okay, yeah. So that newsletter, Lord have mercy. I made a mistake and sent out the wrong. I sent out a draft of the newsletter instead of the corrected version. So luckily somebody told me that, and this went out to thousands of people. So this was not a good look for an author. But you know what? Mistakes happen, and I'm not gonna kill myself. You know what I'm saying, or beat myself down over that. But it was, as a professional, doing the right thing to resend it out, and I also added a bit of good news in it. So if you didn't read it, check it out because we just got a sponsor, a gold sponsor. So shout out to DE Tires for your help and support. And a gold sponsor is $1,000, and so it's not easy these days to get $1,000, let alone $100.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
You know what I'm saying? So far we've raised, thank you. We've raised over about $6,000 so far, and I have a couple of grants coming in. I have a big meeting for a grant coming up next month, so pray for me, y'all, on that one. I know the victory is already mine, and there's an even bigger one that can actually, fund the whole project itself. So I'm praying on that, and I won't find out what's up with that until 2, 3 more months. But I'm really grinding towards it because I'm an active writer. I have one movie script that I have ready to rock and roll. But I'm not gonna see. I work on a lot of things because I utilize my time and energy efficiently. You know what I'm saying? So hey, to whom much is given, much is required.
That's right.
But let me go ahead and let you go and let the internet world go. This is the wrap up the King Kevin show. But I wanted you to get a chance to say something if you wanted to the audience because this is recorded. We'll go on YouTube and all that good stuff.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much, King Kevin, for having me on. It was a lot of fun and a good experience for me. If you guys want to find out more about me, you can look me up on Twitter, MZ underscore Brownie, BROWNIE. Also, our website is dolohustle.com, DOLO hustle, HUSTLE.com. You can get all my social media information on there. So I'm out here grinding as a journalist, doing some more hosting, got some big things coming. And I hope to stay connected with you, King Kevin. And thank you for the audience for listening.
Oh, anytime, anytime, Your Highness. I don't know how to say Highness Brownie or Queen Brownie, but it's all good. It's a pleasure, and I love connecting with people that are serious about their dreams and passion. And I definitely got that vibration from you. You about your business, so kudos to you. Tip my hat and crown to you, and blessings to you in your career.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Good night. Yes, 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 y'all. This is pretty much we wrapping up the show. I'm gonna give y'all a dose of this King Kevin theme song right here. But listen, though, for real, don't ever give up on a church because of the pastor or what I'm saying, people, cantankerous, toxic people in the church. You know what I'm saying? The Church of God is a good place to be at. It's a place where you can get your healing from, uplift your spirit. Um, I get a lot of good ideas while I'm in church. That's why I always keep a notepad with me. It probably isn't the best reason why to go to church, but that's what makes me me. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be me, and as long as I'm not hurting anyone, so don't hurt yourself by not getting fed the Word of God, because the Bible, a lot of stuff could be a bit complicated, but a lot of stuff is plain. And like in Proverbs 10:22, I always say, may the blessing of the Lord makes me rich, makes you rich, and add no sorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, check me out, KevinDorival.com, KevinDorival.com, or thecouragetobelieve.com, which is my website. Now, I'm not going to give up pursuing my hopes and dreams and goals and all that good stuff. And I'm not going to let you do it neither. So that's why I'm here. Lord knows what I go through to do this show every week, even today. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to talk about that, because it's not about that. I'm here now, and you're alive, and you're listening to me right now, meaning that you're blessed to be alive. Shout out, to the little man who passed away um, just the other day, actually. Passed away Monday morning from a fire in Fort Lauderdale. So, rest in peace, and my condolences goes to the family and the friends of this young man, and to the brother who survived that fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only imagine his mental state of mind right now. But you know what? He was blessed to be alive and to know his brother for the years he was able to, So hopefully they have a church home to go to get some prayers and have people pray over them and help them and uplift them. The Spirit of God is in you. You know what I'm saying? God is in the church, a righteous church, but God is definitely in you, operating in you. So if you need to speak to God, do it at any time. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait until you go to church, or don't wait till you get in the group prayer. You can do it while you're driving with one eye open. You know what I'm saying? I do it all the time. The other eye closed. You pray in your bathroom, in the shower. I do that sometimes. You can pray working out. I give a shout out to God every time I'm out there jogging, or lifting the bench, on the bench presses and stuff like that. So never give up. Keep moving forward. I'm King Kevin Dorival. And, you know, there's another episode of the King Kevin Show. And blessings to you.